They stood at the casket for what felt like forever. Her hand on the wood, his picture in her palm. A mother saying goodbye to her son, the one who died too young. And through the tears, one question poured through her heart. Will I ever see him again? Will he know me in heaven? Will we know our loved ones in heaven? That's the title of this video. And it's not just a theological question. It's a soul-deep ache. It's about family in heaven. And the answer, if we really pay attention to Scripture, might shock you. Because many people have been taught that heaven is a vague, floating, foggy place. No faces, no names, no memories. But that's not what the Bible tells us, not when we really look. Let's go deeper. You're not alone in asking this. People have wrestled with this question for thousands of years, and the Bible does offer answers. Some are hidden in plain sight, waiting to be uncovered, but they don't show up in the popular verses you always hear at funerals. In fact, one of the first clues comes from a moment filled with sorrow and faith, the death of King David's infant son. The baby had died. David had fasted and prayed for days. But when the child was gone, he did something surprising. He got up, washed, ate, and said something no one expected. He said, "Can I bring him back again? I will go to him, but he will not return to me." 2 Samuel 12:23. David believed with all his heart he would see his son again, not as an angel, not as a vague memory, but as the boy he lost. And here's where it gets even more personal. David believed his child would still be his child. That's the emotional core of this. If heaven means reunion, that reunion must mean recognition. Love isn't erased by eternity, it's redeemed by it. So, what else does the Bible say? One of the most overlooked moments happens in the New Testament, during a moment of divine glory, when Jesus takes Peter, James, and John up a mountain. Suddenly, Moses and Elijah appear. Now remember, Moses had died over 1,000 years before. Elijah had been taken up into heaven in a whirlwind. And the disciples, they didn't need name tags to recognize them. Somehow, they knew who they were. Matthew 17:1-4. If the disciples could recognize people they had never met, people from centuries ago, why wouldn't you recognize your mother, your child, your husband? But that's not all. In 1 Corinthians 13:12, Paul says, "Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known." Heaven will not blur your identity. It will clarify it. You will not forget. You will finally see. The resurrection body isn't some strange vapor. It's you, glorified. Still you, but healed. Still them, but whole. Now here's where it gets deeper, and this may be hard to hear. Heaven is not just about memories. It's also about reconciliation. That means the people you lost, even the ones you were angry with, might be waiting with open arms. Some people are afraid to go to heaven, not because they don't believe it's real, but because they fear seeing the people they hurt, or who hurt them. But in God's kingdom, all things are made new. That includes love, that includes family, and that includes forgiveness. We often think heaven means marriage and family exactly as we have them on earth. But Jesus said something that changed everything. When the Sadducees tried to trap him with a question about marriage in the afterlife, he said this: "At the resurrection, people will neither marry nor be given in marriage. They will be like the angels in heaven." Matthew 22:30. That sounds sad, right? But don't stop there. Because what he meant was this: marriage and family as we know them now will give way to something even greater, a deeper bond. No more fear, no more divorce, no more loss, only love that lasts. You will still know your wife, your husband, your children, but you will love them with a perfect love, without insecurity, pain, or pride. Let me stop right here and ask you something. If you knew you'd see your loved ones again, how would that change the way you live now? Would you let go of that grudge? Would you forgive that parent who never apologized? Would you call your brother and tell him you still love him, even after the fallout? Heaven isn't just a comfort for later. It's a call to live better now. Because this life is not the end of the story. Relationships don't die with the body. They pass through eternity and come out on the other side renewed. And here's the second jaw-drop moment in this whole story. You will not only recognize your family in heaven, you may recognize family members you never knew you had. That child lost in the womb. That sibling who died before you were born. That grandparent whose stories you never got to hear. In heaven, time no longer separates. Distance no longer matters. Blood and spirit are united by the hand of God. Let's talk about the proof, those subtle but powerful clues the Bible gives us. First, in Revelation 20:12, we're told that names are written in the book of life. Names matter to God. Identity matters. If heaven was just about faceless souls, names wouldn't matter, but they do. Second, in Hebrews 12:1, Paul says, "We are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses." That word, witnesses, is not about strangers. It means people who've run the race before us and who now cheer us on. Maybe your mother, maybe your father, maybe someone you lost too soon. Third, in Luke 16, Jesus tells the story of Lazarus and the rich man. And guess what? Even in the afterlife, they remembered who they were. They remembered family. They remembered earth. The rich man even begged for his brothers to be warned. Fourth, when Jesus rose from the dead, his disciples recognized him. Thomas touched his wounds. He ate with them. He wasn't a ghost. He was alive, but with a body that could never die again. That's the model for your resurrection body. So, what does this all mean for you? It means grief doesn't have the last word. It means your family, the ones who knew Jesus, the ones who trusted in his promise, are not gone. They are just ahead. It means that the love you feel in this life is only a shadow of the love you're walking toward. It means that the table in heaven isn't empty. It's waiting, with seats marked for those who belong. Let that truth wash over you, and let it change the way you treat people today. Call your sister. Write that letter. Forgive your father. Say, "I love you," while there's still time. Because heaven is real. Family is forever. And one day, when all the tears are wiped away and the veil is lifted, you'll hear a voice you thought was gone forever. And they'll look at you, smile, and say, "I knew you'd come." Let's carry this truth with hope, because we weren't created for goodbye. We were created for reunion. Subscribe if you've found peace or power in this message. And if this touched your heart, share it with someone who's grieving, because somebody needs to know love doesn't end at the grave. It waits on the other side.